I wanted to experience the stuff that I really wanted to experience in life, to move on another place, to move to another culture, to experience the culture, and to submerge myself to that culture, to actually survive in that culture. Also, not just survive, help whoever you could help, wherever you're going.
And your wife and your family was agree with you. Like actually it's
Oh no, initially they didn't. Initially they thought, oh, you got a businesses in here, you're employing people. This is crazy. Why are you gonna do this and all that? Right, crazy. Obviously, they didn't want basically what we already have in there to be destroyed. I understand that. But in my brain, in my head, is not about destruction of that. It's about, can I leave that to someone else to basically be a business. I sell the business, someone else can take over, is already good established. They can basically scale it up. And also, like, for me was, why should really I continue not to have the other experience that I always imagined, even if I'm late in my kind of like age? So I did this trip basically when I was in my 50s, 40s, to move to Portugal. So it's like coming to the Portugal, another really big challenge. Same struggle as before, but this time a little bit different.
if you've ever felt inspired by the idea of building bridges, whether by creating global connections or intentional living spaces, this episode is for you. Hello and welcome to another episode of Age of Reinvention, ecoLiving, expats, and intentional communities. I'm your host, Emily Bron. At the Age of Reinvention, we delve into the lives of inspiring individuals, redefining what it means to live with purpose in our ever-changing world. Today, I'm delighted to introduce you to Evangelist Taxiarch. Evangelist is a remarkable soul whose life journey has traversed the landscapes of conscious living and vibrant cultural immersion and experiences. Evangelist Taxiarchis, a visionary thinker and solutions provider with a unique mission to uplift others, to empower communities, and create authentic connections in everything he does. Evangelist, or Evans, as he warmly known between friends, is not just an expert in email marketing strategy. He is someone who sees technology as a tool to foster human connections. With his signature offering No Limit Emails, he has reimagined what is possible in the digital space, creating bespoke email solutions that are as personal as they are effective. But what even more remarkable is how deeply Evans' philosophy penetrates his work, enabling and uplifting people and creating bridges between them, whether through his innovative services or his meaningful online. With over 996 million emails delivered, it's hard even for me to imagine, and 2,000 educational videos shared on YouTube, Evan has demonstrated not only expertise, but also a deep commitment to empowering individuals and businesses. Today's conversation goes beyond the technical. We will explore how Evan's personal journey, values, and love for connection shape his work, his priorities, and his enduring purpose of helping people thrive, both digitally and in real life. Get ready for an open conversation about meaningful connections, people-oriented businesses and practices, and the beauty of living a life full of purpose. Let's dive in. Hello, Evan. I'm really happy to welcome you to my studio, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much, Emily, for having me. I really appreciate you and your time. And thank you for that amazing introduction. Yeah, absolutely. As open as can we get, for sure. Let's have open conversation.
People have different personality, and even I still don't know you enough, but I knew that I'm meeting this person today who is open to the conversation like I am usually. So, Evan, to be friendly, your journey spans several different industries and roles. What foundational principles or personal philosophies have guided you through such diverse experiences?
Very big question. And really, it is just main principle of nature itself. I really believe what visually I see around me, it doesn't have lack of anything, doesn't cry, say, help me, like many million peoples do. And its abundance of the nature itself is really in the main core of the philosophy of my own life, implementing it from early age of my life, experimenting the exact same philosophy in different places in the world, just taking off, not knowing people, not knowing languages, not knowing anything from anything, and dropping myself into the hot pot, basically, of the different culture and different experiences. And I really believe in that philosophy when you really activate it and you really follow it, you really believe in it. Doesn't matter which part of the world you go, you don't go in a mindset of what can I take? Can I take? What can I take? As you go in a mindset of what can you give? What can you give? What can you give without asking nothing back, as nature does that in front of all of us. You can walk on orchard or a farm or any by the river, you see it with your own eyes. So there is nothing there is asking anything else for help, but human beings are being put in different situation. We always need help from somebody else. So abundance of the philosophy of the nature is richly just five principles, five simple principles. Anyone witness, anyone can observe, anybody can activate any moment of their life. Literally looking at the things is without basically having a limitation for them. So the five principle is basically production, recycle, distribution, and obviously regeneration, as just like normal fruit tree would. So I grew up in a farm, a very small age, in a fruit farm. I didn't separate anything from anything to learn from. And that's basically where the core philosophy comes in, is about being the bridge between literally anyone in the world, any place that can do this kind of things for themselves and improve their situation through their lives. For me, it's been very, really interesting life. And I'm no different than any other human being. Obviously, we move around the world if you're lucky. So in my case, I would say I was a bit lucky to be able to move around the world and experience different parts of the world. When I was 14, literally, I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone, see the world and see the world different way. I was only 14 and a half, 15 years old. And I didn't know where I'm going. There's absolutely no plan, no nothing, no map, no money. And I just went to the kiss my mama, says I'm going to stay with my friends. And please do not go report me to police or anything. I'm not lost. I will be back. And then I went to the harbor, just jump on the ferry. I didn't know where it's going. Literally, I didn't know anything. And
Poor mom as a mother.
yeah, so I didn't want she to be upset, to be honest. So I didn't want her go to the sleep every night thinking, what's happened to my son? So first thing I went is I told her that maybe I will not come back few days. I'll stay with my friends. Anyway, so I just went to the harbor, jump on this ferry. I really didn't know where it's going. Could go to the next island or could go somewhere else. Anyway, I jumped in the ferry. I asked people, where is this going? This is, oh, we go in Italy. So, yeah, I heard of Italy. I met a lot of Italian people who were coming to visit us in the summer as a tourist. I'm interested. It's going to be great to see what's going on in there anyway. Most kids in my age would be scared, really, not to do this kind of thing, which is, I think, is normal. And anyway, I was really excited. Internally, I was very excited. I was excited that I'm going to this new place. There's going to be so many people, and I at least got to find one or two people I can help with all the skill I already have by selling stuff, by basically being a useful person. Anyway, I was excited, and this ferry ended up in Italy. I didn't know the language. I didn't want to steal from people. I didn't want to break things. And I didn't know the language, so I could not really just go say, could you give me a job to anyone? I'm only 14, 15 years old. Nobody would even bother. So I end up basically creating the jobs for myself at that time. So this job was, I was searching for someone that is someplace that I know my effort they will appreciate. So I walking street by street, I see this nice little street with a bakery, with a shoe shop, with a few things. But one thing I instantly noticed, there is lots of rubbish in the streets. So what I did in the morning, I wake up and went and clean the street and put everything in a bin, tidy up, without nobody asking me anything. And I did this for several weeks anyway. And then suddenly the guy owned the bakery that noticed me.
Where did you live at this time, during this time? First,
I'm living basically under the tree on a beach towel. That's the only thing I have. So most of the times I'm walking around, basically, normally probably sleep 2 hours or 3 hours maximum. And I was waking up before almost everybody that in the city wake up, just really still dark. I go and clean the street, put everything in the bin, and long behold, after a while, this guy been observing me for a while, and then has a bakery and asked me to come in, give me cake, give me bread, and looking me obviously, what is this? Yeah, like the suspicious, who is this kid and why is he suddenly appeared in here anyway? And I don't know how to speak the language. So I basically went in. He's had a table with stuff on. I drew the map of the Greece. I drew the map of the Baded Sea. I draw him a boat. So I says I came from here to here. So I'm from here. The guy visually understand it, even if I could not speak any words. So he visually understood what I have put it in front of him. And he's basically like really a little bit shocked. Who is why this guy's kids run away? And I said to him, look, I really didn't run away. I'm not like being trafficked or anything. I just wanted to come and explore. And I end up in here. And I don't want to steal from anything from anyone. And I don't want to break anything. And I just want to be useful. Anyway, this guy understood me. He's given me the place. He's given me literally a job. I didn't know the language. It says I can be here how long you wanted me. Anyway, in the end, I end up negotiating my wages or work days with him as I put it on the table 6 - 1. Famously, 6 days I can be here, do all the things, and the 1 day I need for myself type situation. And the guy is shaking his head. Literally, we were just talking with pictograph and body language. So it took me 3 - 4 months to start understanding odd word Italian from him and understanding basically what he's saying and all that. Anyway, I end up staying there nearly 8 months. So after that, I wanted to go back, go to school, obviously finish my school. I was still in school and all that. And
back to Greece, you mean? Did you went?
yeah, I went back to Greece after the 9 months and basically experiencing this kind of really pretty amazing, you could say, like amazing journey of young guy. Yeah, experience. It's opened my eyes, to be honest. It's opened my eyes that it made me understood there is a bigger world out there than there just where I was, like in a small island, very minimal amount of kind of people. There is not much really happens in the winter. You just become like a cabin fever, basically. In the few months of the summer, you will have some tourists coming in. And that was not really life I wanted to have, to be honest. My parents choose that, but I didn't want to choose same life as my parents had. And I think that was the one of the bigger drive. And it wasn't about my parents having a bad life. They had a wonderful life. They had a place, land, and everything working. But I wanted to experience the world. And I was really interested in people, and I really was interested in language, and I wanted to experience it myself, immersing in them. And this was first kind of experience I did going Italy. I went back to home, stayed as basically finished my first round of schooling, and I was 18 and a half, 19, and I decided to go in England. Basically, I jump, take my ticket again, don't know anybody in England, don't know, have any family on there, don't know the language, and just jump in an airplane and go.
Why you selected England this time?
I really want to learn English.
Immersing yourself in a new country.
This is what I really believed in. If you really want to learn the language of the people, you have to be with the people.
I fully agree with you, but sometimes it's not possible, or people prepare themselves in advance by learning, I know, from books. Now you have different apps and speaking with people. But okay, and what year it was? Yeah, when it was before internet. Yeah.
Remember, like them days, literally, there's them days no internet. Yeah. So it's before internet. Really, only thing that you could get is maybe like from phone book or in local newspapers. But I really had this fascination for languages and also really the people itself. So I found really the British people was very interesting culture, very interesting people. And in my interaction with them in the summer in the kind of holiday places as a tourist. So one side of me seen, oh yeah, they are here, they spend a lot of money, but I didn't understand the other side of life. I didn't know the guy is actually working 13, 12 months in a factory, then I just have a 2 weeks on holiday that he can live and spend and enjoy. I didn't understand that side of it till I caught that myself. Then I saw, these people are very workaholic, literally like basically work, 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 like 11 months of the year and then have a couple of weeks off. And to me, it was eye opening. To me, it was very interesting because culture is very occupied. Everyone's almost working. And the point at the point of time, literally, like you look in early 80s, late 80s, mid 90s, things are very different. Like literally, there was no internet that you could learn, or you could hire somebody remotely to actually learn the language. So anyway, I got my ticket. I landed up in January in Heathrow Airport, still with t-shirt and shorts on, and people looking at me that funny. I thought, like, what is this? Anyway, I landed in there, not much money in my pocket, not knowing anyone, not knowing the language, not even having place to go. Literally didn't have nothing. So I landed up in there, and first thing I asked one of the security guard that says, "Is there any place that I can rent a cheap room?"
Security guard, you ask.
Yeah, like on the airport when I'm going out, I'm asking a security guard that says I'm new here, I want a place to stay. The guy didn't understand a single word I said. I'm talking to him Greek, and he's an English guy. So he realized, this is foreign guy just landing in here. He's talking me to the desk that somebody could translate what I'm asking. Anyway, and this other person was there. He's translated what I was asking. This security guy literally gave me a number to call and says they can give you the room and all that kind of stuff.
Look, they were good times. Today you would be turned off or put to the prison, maybe, with such a question of for security.
Yeah, absolutely. So at that time, people were genuinely, if you are really asking like for help, people would give you help. And today's unfortunately is not like that. Anyways, this guy sent me to this family. I went to this family. I'm knocking door. Nobody's answering. Obviously, I didn't know. Maybe they were working or something. I didn't get angry or anything. I was just basically exploring the London and walking around and seeing things. I just didn't want to really disturb anybody else. It was not about me. It's about me disturbing someone else. So I find a little place, and I found literally this abandoned property, like almost basically being destroyed type of thing. Anyway, as I went there, I stayed in that property for about 4 or 5 days, and every couple of days I went and knocked this door. Apparently, one time the lady opened the door, and obviously I don't know how to speak English, like literally stuck. Imagine like what's the difficulty if I didn't know how to speak your language that I gotta ask you something. Anyway, I showed her the number, and she's looked at that as her number. And I basically, doing a body language, say I want to the bed and sleep. And she instantly just got it. Oh, okay. And then she's took me to the other side, showed me the room, give me the key, and asked me for money. I says, I took all out. I said, this is what I have. She's took some money out of it, left some with me, didn't take everything, the lady. Anyway, I stayed there for about nearly a month. In this period, I'm walking around and try to basically find things to eat. I'm looking for a river. There is no river. Even London is built on a river, but there is no river. So by the river, there is literally nothing that grows that you could go and forage. And then I realized, oh, okay, this is really is not the place to survive in the wild. You need to find people and work. Yeah. Basically, that led me again once more. I started basically searching, try to find a place that I could contribute, help, clean, do whatever. I didn't want really, again, the principle is I didn't go there to take anything from anyone. I go there to give them basically myself, my time, and what I could do for them. And one morning I walked to this building site, and the guys are mixing some cement and stuff. And I asked him if they need help. Can I work in there? Again, don't know the language. So it was this big barrier, really is huge. And I don't know the language. So I asked them by a little bit like body language. And I showed them that I can do certain things. Maybe they need my help. And the guys look at me first. They thought I was a bit crazy. Basically, they just want to kick you out because you're wasting their time. Anyway, I waited all afternoon till they go and have a lunch. When they have a lunch, I went and picked a mix up, and I built the wall 1/2 meter high before they come back from the lunch. And when they come back, the guy's looking at yeah, the guy's looking at all the cement mix is finished, like all the bricks they had in there is finished. And then they look in the wall, and then I'm sitting on that corner. The guy shouted at me, says, "What's happened? Did you see?" And I says, "Yeah, it's me. I did that." The guy's shaking his head. Okay, show me. Like, literally, we are just talking body language. There's no words. So guy's pointing his eyes and show it, pointing me, says, "Okay, show me." I end up like helping him mix the cement again. I put the bricks up, and the guys looked at me. How on? You're like, you're too young. How do you know this? Really questions he's asking. I says, look, yeah, it says I grew up in this kind of thing from literally age of 8, 9. I was helping my family build walls, build fences, farm. You build things. Even that age, I could really drive a car and trucks and everything else. The guys didn't believe me because I didn't have really no license, no nothing. Anyway, and I showed them. The guy told me, okay, you come back tomorrow, like showing me like 7:30 in the morning. I gotta be there, and I'll start with him. I says, okay. In the morning, I went there and I worked that day. First day, getting a job. I didn't ask for pay. I didn't ask anything. I just want to be occupied with other people. Anyway, and I worked with them. Come end of the week, the guy came to me and gave me envelope. I didn't ask for wage. I didn't ask price. I didn't ask anything. Basically, he says, okay, this is for you. And I said, thank you. And that was it. But we never discussed anything. And I stayed with them for about 2 months till they finished this building. And after that, I start learning a little bit, few word English. So I start asking, where is the Greek communities? Where is the kind of foreign communities in the country? Where can I find somebody that really know my language? And what are the places these people live? Anyway, whoever I'm asking, they say, you got to go to fish and chip shop. And I'm saying, what is this fish and chip shop? I don't know anything about them. Anyway, he says, oh, they are like English, British takeaways. You go in there, and majority of them, either the Turks or the Greeks or the Moroccans, like,
Today they would say Uber Eats.
Anyway, this has led me to find a Greek family, Greek separate family. They have several shops. And I went in, I says, I wanted to do the studies, but I really do not have a job in order to sustain myself. If it's not, I have to go back. I'm looking for a job. Doesn't matter really what job it is, I can do. If you want me to clean the bathroom, I can clean the bathroom all day long. There's no problem. Anyway, the guys look at me first. Obviously, they don't trust you. You just appeared in there, you're asking somebody a job. And I says, is there any churches around where you guys go for pray and all that kind of things? And he says, yeah, we have the church, we have the community. If you are wanted to meeting people, this is the day they meet. I said, okay, I'll go there in those days, see what happens. Anyway, I showed up in there. Again, I'm just making myself useful. Everybody throwing rubbish on the floor, I'm picking them up and putting them in bins.
Can I ask you, sorry for interrupting, there were some other cases when you explore the new culture or new country this way after then?
Yeah, absolutely. I stayed in England for a while, obviously set established and had a family and all that. And after that, I moved to Portugal.
Oh, after many years,
Yeah, after many years.
being already British expat.
Yeah. Basically, not just that, there are certain things happened. I got basically married. I have three children. And when we were trying to travel through the airports and everything else, my passport is different. And a Greek passport and my children passport is British. And always had some issues like, who is this kid?
Why you didn't become, sorry, British citizen over the years?
Initially, I didn't. I didn't see the reason to be. Anyway, then I had the kids, and the kids, every time that we got to travel from one country to the other, basically, we go through the airports, people think that I'm stealing somebody else's kid because my name's different and their passport's different, anyways. So, because of that, I end up applying, become a British citizen, and I got accepted. Obviously, being in there for quite a few years, paying my taxes, employing people, setting up several businesses. Obviously, having nothing to start off with is very difficult and very scary. I totally understand that. But if you don't try, you don't get it, to be honest. So I tried my best to be a useful individual when I went to England. That one thing led the other, one thing led the other, till I met somebody I really cared about. Let's say, okay, I really never planned to go England and marry someone, have a children.
At 18, you didn't think about it. Like you had different driving force. First of all, as far as I understand, it's a big curiosity to the world. Actually, what is over there? What kind of people? How it works? Like you to explore something new, and after then jumping to this water and learning to swim.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the really what happened. Obviously, now is three times in my life. So doing that in England, obviously, it is different time. It was early 80s and mid 90s when you look at that. And now as conditions are changed, whole of the world has changed. Maybe it's very difficult even myself to do that. But generally speaking, I did again. And from England, I moved to Portugal. Again, didn't know anybody, didn't know language.
Why you decided so? Can I ask you?
Sure, like literally, I wanted to experience the stuff that I really wanted to experience in life, to move on another place, to move to another culture, to experience the culture, and to submerge myself to that culture, to actually survive in that culture. Also, not just survive, help whoever you could help, wherever you're going.
And your wife and your family was agree with you.
Oh no, initially they didn't. Initially they thought, oh, you got a business in here, you're employing people. This is crazy. Why are you gonna do this and all that? Right? Crazy. Obviously, they didn't want basically what we already have in there to be destroyed. I understand that. But in my brain, in my head, is not about destruction of that. It's about, can I leave that to someone else to basically be a business. I sell the business, someone else can take over, is already good established. They can basically scale it up. And also, like, for me was, why should really I continue not to have the other experience that I always imagined, even if I'm late in my kind of like age. So I did this trip basically when I was in my 50s, 40s to move to Portugal. So it's like coming to the Portugal, another really big challenge. Absolutely same struggle as before, but this time a little bit different. Obviously, this time I didn't come.
You could have selected Spanish, Spain, because as for me, Spanish is an easy language comparing to Portuguese. But you always took the most, I would say, maybe hard option in between available.
I went to Spain. I could really choose the Spain, but I looked the culture in Spain or the actual community Spain had. It was not really rural. The people. It was mixed up. Like literally, you go Benidorm, Benidorm, just like a Blackpool in England, like all British and everything else British and all that. You go Algarve in Portugal is very similar. I didn't want to really experience the tourist life because I did experience that all my childhood. And I wanted to really experience the village life, the rural life of the poor guy, the poor family. Or that's the thing I wanted to see, feel, and live in it. And that's basically why I choose Portugal and not basically not knowing anything in a country. This time round, I didn't came to Portugal totally broke. Obviously, I bought property, I paid everything for myself. I don't own anything to anyone, so it was a little bit different than me moving basically to England, me moving to Greece, but from Italy going back to the Greece. The culture of Portuguese culture is very close to the Greek culture versus Spanish or Italians. This is my own experience. So when I came to Portugal, literally, I had a feeling I came home. Internally, I had that feeling as if I came home. Literally, it's like that. So when I first time arrived in Portugal, don't know anybody. I just rented a car or basically lived in the car for 7, 8 days, drive around the country, just experience people and asking people where I can find some properties to move to and all that. And from day one, the moment one, everyone that I interacted in Portugal without really knowing the language, it was more welcoming than any other places that I previously been.
Okay, good you didn't land in Germany or Norway. Like, with all respect.
I did a trip to Germany, exactly similar thing. Like when I was in England, I literally just jumped on the plane and went to the Germany for 3 weeks. Didn't rent it anywhere, didn't, I just wanted to see. Definitely the culture is totally different. I went to France, I went to Belgium, I went to Spain, I went to Holland, I went to Denmark, I went to live in Norway. So I basically country jumped quite a bit. Every couple of weeks I went there, almost around Europe. I went to Far East too. I went to Asia a little bit too. So quite a few countries I have traveled. To be honest, that is very small cultural kind of connectivity. I didn't see it anywhere else around Europe than Portugal. I don't know why, but
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you proved my, because when I'm people asking me how to find the best country, and when I'm starting to ask question about what you like, trying to understand what kind of personality, why it's so important? It is important because at the end of the day, you will live there. You want to bring your family. You want to start new life, and you will. But you need like your mentality, or you need to accept this mentality. It's yours, not impose your mentality, but be part of this like society, culture, group. What I understand, listening to your stories now and actually reviewing your newsletter Curate, you talk about importance of experimentation, whether in personal growth or business. So experimentation for actually type of people like you, it's a main tool of discovering world and yourself in this world. What is the boldest experiment you have tried and how did it turn out?
experiment for Communication, I've been involved in quite a bit, quite a few years. That side of it, definitely, we do a lot of run experiments, almost like scientific, you could call it, but I'm not a scientist, so I don't have a peer review. But I really believe in the general human experience itself is the science itself. If somebody have the experience of something and you could share it, they could multiply it or repeat it or get better results or similar results, I think is close to the science that you could get. So experimenting with technology is being one side is really hobby and the other side is necessity for me. Like the hobby side is can give you some vague ideas, but really necessity side is about dependency of your business or your existing on the digital world, and has become very hard and become very expensive for many millions of people. And we try to do something about that. And we've been working on a projects basically with a group of people. Say, okay, let's do this experiment together, and we will do it together. And let's see if you can send million email in 30 days to million people. So normally it's not possible to do this kind of thing. And so this is the kind of experiments we run in real life, in real world, with real people. And everyone has obviously different outcomes. But that's just communication side, digital data communication side. And then the other side, we wanted to experiment something with the technology. How can we enable literally whole world to have a space that is belong to them that they can talk through or have a conversation or have a connection or have a stream, just like you're recording this now. And it's very similar platform we developed for totally public and open source. Everything is there. We don't record anything. So to experiment with global connection and be a bridge for the many millions of people in the world, and every tools that are out there somehow somewhat is limits us or create issues, and we try to remove all the really issues out of the way, just make the internet to be like outside, that we could walk on the street, say hello to someone. So it's like that side of it, the experiment is now is actually live, lots of people using that tool, and we like to share that with everybody in the world.
But sorry, you need internet to send emails. You need internet to connect people.
So right now, obviously, we moved from manual to the digital, which is manual. Before I used to walk basically kilometers myself to just meet someone before the kind of I even had a bike. But generally speaking, on the internet, we know with an internet, it is joint part of the human life now. It is, you can't separate it anymore. And because of that, we cannot really separate digital stuff from the real life anymore. We needed to have a systems that individually in control, not a corporation, not the big boss, but as any individual.
Like decentralized spaces. From what I see and listen, there are many different solutions that different people are offering this regard. How to be decentralized, but at the same time able to connect with other or find like-minded people. It's what actually intentional communities are. But you, as far as I understand, looking like proof of concept from the technical perspective to provide the tool which will help people to find each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Our idea is provide a table, let's say two people, they hate each other, to sit down, have a conversation.
Oh, even these extreme cases?
Yeah, extreme cases. Like we look at the extreme cases, what can solution we provide? Let's say two people are the long-time enemies, but they want to speak, but they do not really have a mutual place that themselves can control to speak, like not by third party.
No, but today there is this, I don't know, some tools like WhatsApp, I don't know, Zoom or whatever. Like if they hate each other, it's very hard to make them meet each other, speak with each other.
That's another really important point. It's all about either side. They didn't have to give anyone else's data in order to be able to speak to each other. So it's like we can use a Zoom or many different tools like WhatsApp or Telegram or Signal. There's many of them out there as a messaging tool. But really, is most important part of the equation is this face-to-face, just like me and you now. And that behind the text, we can hide. We can do also the crazy stuff as human beings. But face to face, at least you are genuine. You can detect human emotion. You can detect human movement. You can read the body language. So there's a lot of things that you could do when you are face to face. And we've made a platform literally to be for any individual in the world, and not even age restriction. We don't have nothing restricted because literally nothing recorded. So it's open platform that anyone could just log in, create a room, and go live, have a live conversation. And we've been providing that last 3 years to public. So far, it's been absolutely amazing feedback. Genuinely, I just wanted to give something to the humanity that is genuinely is benefit for them, not us. No financial gain from that specific tool. That is, we never say, hey, we beg or donate this or that. Literally just free UI, just like a Google give us a browser, say use. And this is something that anyone could use, is out there. And that side of experiments is very interesting because literally as human being without communication, to be honest, there's no point. Like they're pointless. Like anything, everything else is pointless without the communication, and the communication being monetized and commoditized and restricted in almost all angles in our lives. And I really believe individually we have to have a right to have a place that I just want to be private with you 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, or 10 hours. Like just that human privacy centric, basically. That's the idea behind us releasing that kind of basically tooling for the community. Is already exist, and we pay the bill, we maintain it, and we like the whole world basically have a open basically protocol that to communicate with the loved ones or the business or distant relatives or relatives. And so the one of the issues for me was I have my wife's father in hospital, doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a more email, and how do we speak to him? And he's lost kind of basically times.
In a different country, probably, yes? Far away.
Different country is about between us is about 7,000-8,000 kilometers difference. And how do we really speak to this person? And he's lost kind of moments. And the tool that we created allowed us to do that. Simply, we just set somebody in the hospital, say, hey, do you have a mobile phone? Please open this chat up in here, and could you take it to this person so we can speak to? And through that, we end up speaking. He didn't have to have a mobile phone or a kind of email or anything else, be able to speak to us. And we decided on that is millions of people around the world, elders especially, and they are remote. Majority is people that work for the government institutions and all that. So there's millions of people around the world needed this kind of tool because they don't want to leak data anywhere. They don't want to give data to anybody. So it's about really personal, you could say personal privacy intent tool.
And at the same time, it's boldest authentic experiment, if you see, because you didn't plan it, but it's happened just to prove that your concept was really valuable for such situations, yes?
Yeah, absolutely. Like for me, I personally had the experience of not enabled to speak someone that is long distance that I care and love and want to speak 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour, or more than an hour. So we didn't have the tools that could allow us to speak to someone for 10 hours, for example, without getting cut.
But you can use kind of WhatsApp maybe to connect with the hospital and on the same phone to be face to face, like with camera with a person.
Yeah, with this is just not necessarily you got to have a mobile phone. It could be all tablet. So the phone side, WhatsApp that you could use. But for the old tablet or something like that, you could not really use. So with this, you can. So literally just URL, just like any website like this.
Okay, you don't need phone number like Telegram. It's based on a browser, and okay.
Yeah, literally it's browser based, can work on any browser. And the whole idea was really, can we give every individual in the planet a place as a private for them? They are the actual controller of the UI when they create a room. There's no one else there recording them. There's no one else there asking them for money. There's no one ad is being published to even, let's say, trigger their mind to something. So literally, we are anti all that stuff to just one simple, clean UI that everyone in the world can utilize and use. And that is kind of part of the mission, part of the philosophy that I have, that be it with side of the email, that helping companies literally save lots of tech issues, problems, well as helping it generally everyone in the world to be able to just have a dependable site that doesn't exist one day and disappear next day, so to speak, for them to have some sort of really regular place that they could meet. For example, I called my wife half an hour before we meet on that tool. And I use it daily for my life, for my business, for my family, and many millions of people using it. And we are just glad that somebody like us comes along, enables technology for people, not the people that just got a benefit from the technology or, let's say, commercial side of it. The commercial side, everybody does it, but like non-commercial human-centric side, there's not many people doing it, and that's why we're doing this basically for benefit everybody when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to the communication safety, communication security. I really believe is the most important thing in our world is the human dignity, human privacy, humans. We do things that we have to have some certain secrets. That's the reality. Every government has secrets. Every institution has secrets. Every businessman has secrets. Every bit of knowledge.
Person has secret. It's what is privacy about, by the way, to have some private space.
Exactly. And we build things. We don't want intruders basically to get in. Like we build good gating. We build good moat. You know how in olden days they used to build the castles. Unless somebody going to come attack your castles, they have to approach so many different fences before get to you. And it's very similar logic we apply to the cybersecurity of the stuff when we build. Generally speaking, I also believe there is nothing really safe 100%. But if we can get to the 98, 99% of the time, so you eliminate a lot of headaches. And this is what we've been doing last 5-6 years, our own experiment, our amount of data that kind of we actually try transmit and distribute around the world is pretty large scale. And when you distribute data on a large scale, you're always going to be like literally on a point of the dartboard. Everybody's going to attack you and try to dismantle you and things like that. But it's really, we are doing something totally different than everyone else in the world.
Can you define your mission? What you're trying to accomplish with your solution?
Number one is ourselves, save ourselves, our businesses, so it doesn't get interrupted by anybody else. And then when we've done that for ourselves, we say, okay, we can allow few people to actually use our tools and we can do it same for them. So this is basically my own personal philosophy. Do it for yourself first. Prove it that you can do it for yourself. Don't go out there just like basically say things that not are true. I believe in truth. What is the fact? The fact is facts. And that's how I really look things. And we use ourselves as the case study.
Proof of concept, actually. But your concept already spread over the millions of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole idea is about can we empower individual to be almost powerful as big corporations? If every big corporation uses data, why individual being left out? So we try to basically platform people that can utilize the data, that can find the people that they need for their business, that can find the people they need for their connections. Make it easier, make it cheaper, make it sustainable, and make it under their power. That's really our philosophy with email communications. We didn't create like email communication to help somebody to spam my grandmother.
How you would know that there is no bad people who are taking over your technology?
Because we get the reports. Everything reported, everything tracked, everything visually we can see.
No, but you don't know what they're speaking about. What kind of communication would come after it?
No, we don't know how they, like on that side, we don't know. Like on the live side, we don't absolutely know anything from anyone. But on email side, if somebody do the back acting stuff. We track the email because it's totally different tool, different kind of communication. On the email side, we know that if somebody's having a foul play. But on the live UI, we are absolutely 100% mutual place. We do not record, we do not detect, we do not detect anybody's IP, anybody's geolocation, anybody's data. We don't collect anything on the server side. And the reason that we don't, so that everybody in the world can utilize it and use it safely, knowing that nobody's really spying on them. Nobody's stealing their conversation. Nobody's trying to pull wool over their eyes. So I know all other platform does this kind of thing pretty often. And we want to do something for us as a human being to trust each other when we are in one place, to speak to each other without really third party being involved in. And yes, I am the third party. I set up the server. Everything can be blamed on me. Absolutely. I put my neck on the line for everybody's benefit and well as safety. Of course, when we create this kind of tool, I understand there could be bad actors in the world, and there are. If somebody reports us something about someone, we have abilities to track that, to block that, to geo-block that IPs and all that kind of stuff. We have technologies to do that. But we also believe there are more good people, a good usage, good user cases from it. What we hear so far from the feedback that we have from literally hundreds and millions of people. Of course, bad actors always going to use technology, anything else freely available to them, to really make it bad for everybody else. But generally speaking, so far we didn't have any reports last 4 years that somebody misusing our tools. If they do, absolutely. If 5 governments, 10 government reaches us, say, hey, we noticed something bad going on your website, guess what, guys? We will shut it down. It's not that we try to do something for everyone, not just like one group of people or the other. So we are open. If our government turn around to us, say, hey, you need to shut this down, it's dangerous, doing harm, tomorrow we'll shut it down. Absolutely. So we are not like saying we are against the laws, but we try to enhance the laws within our own communication tools. We are also like to remind everybody in the world, as an individual, you have a right at least to have some sort of tool that you could control, not no one else. And so that's the idea behind it. I pay for the domain, I pay for the IPs, I pay for the hosting, for the service, for benefit to everybody else that could just basically get online, talk to your long distance family member, which is in my case, it was my family. Hospital, I could not speak to them. And because this proved for myself as a useful tool, we decided just give it to the public. But on the email side, we do have that as a private tool. So as a get, like for example, would be installed on my website. And if I wanted to send that link to somebody else, I'm tracked through my website. So if something goes wrong or somebody misusing it, they always can get reported us. But I really believe there are more people, good people in the world using it than that bad people. Just because some bad usage could happen in certain things, we should not deny the rest of the humanity to have at least their own privacy back, something that they could control.
A little bit segue to the different topics, not to bore our listeners with only technical details, because I believe if they are interested, they can reach to you personally or listen to YouTubes and to get answers to probably multiple technical questions they can have in regards to how it's working.
I really try to, sorry to cut you out. I really try to put my philosophy of that abundance of nature to the technology and give it to people.
It's exactly what I would like to explore now, because I know you are the person to answer even some of my personal questions. As someone with a global perspective and living experience you have, what trends have you observed lately in the rise of expat movement, expat living, and emerging of intentional communities of different kind? It's my main interest, and actually that's why this podcast is created, to help me to discover the trends and educate people in this regard. Do you think that these new trends, and please tell me what trends actually contribute to the personal growth?
I live in Portugal last few years. We have a huge trend of digital nomads moving to Portugal. It benefits Portugal technologically in many ways and also disadvantage the zones as well, some places. Generally speaking, nomad are very productive people. I personally am nomad. I could class myself nomad. I think that movement itself has created its own culture because people are really struggling, and majority you could put it in and through the really law different regulations, different places. So Portugal is pretty business friendly, nomad friendly, technology friendly. So a lot of people over the years choose to move to Portugal. But when I moved to Portugal, I didn't really move to Portugal as a digital nomad. I moved to Portugal as an expat to experience that. The last few years, that the trends that I've been observing, being part of as a communities, there's lots of expat communities. They like to have gated communities for themselves, like places that they build, controlled by them, and literally like cities within the cities type situation. Some already happening.